We are truly the real indigenous native people of this land, the real Americans. And I'm going to break that all down tonight. I've been waiting to do this. I've been keeping on the wraps. We currently have our site up, the mesoamericancommunity.com. You might want to go there. We're about to officially unveil it. It's up right now. You can go to the mesoamericancommunity.com. And we're going to start taking membership within the Mesoamerican community. In the Mesoamerican community, there will be a language, our own Mesoamerican language, our own Mesoamerican names. And they will not be linked to anybody else's names. They will not be linked to anybody else's culture. They will not be Pan-Africanism. We're not teaching Pan-Africanism. In fact, we are standing up and saying we are not African and we are not from no African continent or wherever the people claiming that we from, which y'all got from these Caucasians. We are Mesoamerican. We are the true indigenous Americans, the true Native Americans here. Not the so-called, not to be confused with the so-called American Indians who came after our people, who came here, who crossed over the Bering Straits as East Indians and Asians, which these so-called Native Americans or so-called American Indians are. They're nothing but Asians. Matter of fact, I'm going to put up a picture I got where it shows that they're nothing but Asians that mixed in with our people who were the bronze people who were here in the American shores already. We were in South America. We were in parts of North America. We were in Mexico. We were in Central America. We were in all those places. Those were all the and even more in these islands and things like this. I can go on. We was there as the Olmecs, the Aztec, the Inca, the Toltec, the Mayan people. That's us. You see, if you look up on this Cash, you see all the pictures I put up. That's Mayan civilization. So that's Mayan civilization. As you can see, those are all bronze people, and they're not African. They're not African. You see, we have to stop this nonsense of associating ourselves with Africa every 5 minutes. We're not African, and also associating ourselves with being black. See, because that whole black African thing is a Caucasian lie. That whole black African American, we came from Africa on slave ships, is a goddamn lie. And that lie is going to stop. And it's stopping here right now. I know a lot of you guys been coming out here talking about we indigenous, and y'all been dancing around the whole thing. You know, you guys, like the brothers, the guy's name, Dane Calloway, and all these guys been dancing around the whole Native American thing and trying to find bronze people, so-called black people with straight hair and wearing feathers. No. We're not claiming no American Indians. We're not trying to get up in somebody else's made up, later hand-me-down, watered-down version of our true culture. No, we're not American Indians. We're not Indians at all. We are the Mesoamerican people. We are the native Mesoamerican people of this land, which is Mesoamerica, currently being called America. Yes, and no, we are not black people. Our skin is not black. I've been pointing this out to you all since I don't know how long. You see, our skin is not black. Our skin is bronze, copper-colored. The copper color that's described in the 1828, I keep bringing this up, and this is also on the site, too, the International Mesoamerican Community site. The 1828 Merriam-Webster Dictionary of what a American is, a true Native American, a real American, right, is the copper-colored races that were here in the society before the so-called white man. Now, they're not talking about so-called American Indians, because if it was American Indians, they would have said so. They don't have any other problem talking about American Indians any other time, and their skin is not copper-colored. They got brown skin. There's a difference between copper and brown. You see, brown is a dingy, dirty, like type of look, like dirt or dust to the ground. Copper, right, which is what you see in our people, that sheen, right, that elemental look, that richness to our skin, that's us. And if you see these people that have that in their skin, that's because they picked it up from us. You look at the early so-called American Indians, the ones they're going to show you. The ones they're not going to show you is they start looking, as you go back further, you see who the original people are here. Those are nothing but Asians that came over here and mixed in with our people. Asians, meaning Chinese, right, and all kinds of other East Indians. They're all classified as Asians. This is where your so-called Mexicans come from. They are not Mesoamerican. These are another group of people who are trying to pass themselves off as Mesoamerican. They are not Mesoamerican. They want to think that just because the Olmecs was down in Mexico, like I said, we was in North America, South America, we was in Central America, Colombia, all of this stuff, right? Our people had societies all over these places, pyramids, everything from like I said, from the Olmecs to the Inca to the Mayan to the Toltecs to the Aztecs. That's our people. In fact, the word America comes from the Mayan language. It does not come from Amerigo Vespucci. That's a lie. You can look that right up. See, the white man, he tells lies to cover the truth and cover his tracks of what he's trying to push across. But we're going to get deeper into this. You know, they saying that, you know, when they talk about the ancient societies, I looked up what they said with the 10 ancient societies, the oldest societies on Earth. You know that at least 5 of them, I count 4 to 5 of them, are Mesoamerican. And Mesoamerican. But wait a minute, I thought the white man discovered America. Why has he got what you could look up where the word America really means? Ameriske. I'm pronouncing it Ameriskes, which means a great wind or something like that. But in Tariq Nasheed's Hidden Colors, this guy Booker T. Coleman, or Kaba Kabane, whatever he calls himself, he brought that out, which I'm going to get to in a second about why these so-called black scholars, they fall short of making reference to us as the Native or Mesoamerican people and why they do that. Okay? But anyway, we are the first people of this land. We are the first and only people of this land, the natives. We are the real and only Americans in this land. Everybody else came from someplace else. We are from here. We are the first ones to set foot in America. They know that for a fact. The so-called white man knows that for a fact, which is why there's really hostility and where there's really enmity. One of the big reasons why there's hostility and enmity amongst so-called black and white, which they chose to call us black people. But as I said, in the 1828 description of what a American is, before the Europeans, before Caucasians came here, look at the Merriam-Webster dictionary of what an American is. They'll tell you that's our people, the copper-colored races that are native to this land. Those are the Americans who were here before the Europeans who took the name American and added it on. Same thing with Amerigo Vespucci. He changed his name to Amerigo. And again, how the white man covers his lies with his story. He claims that this continent or North America is named after Amerigo Vespucci. That's a lie. The reason why they don't want to come out and give the real account in your so-called history class, because then they're going to have to look up the Mayan people. You see, if they tell you that the word America really comes from the Mayan language, Mesoamerican language, then they got to tell you how the Mayans look. Now, they've been trying to they've been trying to repaint these images of Mayans, right? And they're basically putting these Mexican, I'm not talking about the bronze Mexicans, the copper-colored Mexicans, our people, who they call Black Mexicans or Afro-Mexicans, which they try to hide in Mexico. But those people been there before those so-called Indian-looking Mexicans came. See, the Mexican they show you today is the Indian-looking Mexicans. The ones who got East Indian in them and Asian in them. That's what those are. And some of our genetic material in them. That's the Mexicans they try with the straight hair, like the hair like the Caucasians. They call those people natives to the native Mesoamerican. Well, they try to link themselves to the native Mesoamericans. They trying to put those people's image up, which we know is false. But when you look at the real murals, which I put some of these murals up in the feed for this broadcast tonight, when you look at the real murals, now these are real actual pictures that the people, the Mayan people, I got stuff from the Olmecs, of course, the Mayan, the Aztec, the Inca. These are images they put of themselves up. This was not painted by modern hands. This was not redone by modern hands. This was not done by modern day blacks. It was acknowledged that this was done by the ancient people of that time. And everybody's bronze. From dark-skinned bronze to light-skinned bronze, everybody on the wall is bronze. How that happen? How that happen? And they don't got straight hair neither. They got afros and braids. And, they all dressed. They don't look like Africans. They look a lot like the American black people today. They look a lot like the American black people today. And these people have been in this country and in these regions for thousands of years. Thousands of years. In fact, there's a book, and I don't even read books, but there's a book I'm going to just keep on the Mesoamerican site. Go to the Mesoamerican community, the Mesoamericancommunity.com. That's our site, because we the ones picking up this Mesoamerican thing and going forward with it, because ain't none of these other guys out here doing that. None of these other Negroes is out here picking up the Mesoamerican thing and taking it forward. We are. The Republic of Mentellect. Yes, we are. Yes, we still Mentellians. Yes, we still Republic. But the Mesoamerican community is going to be for our people who want to be part of this real culture, want to be part of this real language, want to be part of this three-dimensional thing as we moving forward into the fourth, because we have to come together collectively as a people. And what better way to come together under our real heritage, under our real culture, under our real names and our language. Again, we have that. We ain't got to look across the seas to Africa. You see, because the Africans ain't looking back over at you. We ain't got to look into Egypt no more, because our pyramids and our societies are older than Egypt. And we got way more pyramids than Egypt. Way more. And over here. You see, we ain't got to look to Egypt or Nubia. And like I said, that's our people over there too. That's our family there too. I'm not disparaging them. But here in this society, we got roots, real roots. We ain't got no roots in Africa. Our roots is here right in America. This land, America, is ours. Really, the whole planet is ours. But let's start with America. This is our country. The whole continent is ours. Of North America, South, this is our continent, ours. Our people sowed the seeds here. Our people planted the foods and the things you got here. We got societies and again, in this book, it's called The Ancient Mesoamerica, Life in Ancient Mesoamerica by Lynn Pepys. I'm going to get this book. You see, because what it says in there, I'm only going to use this as reference points. What it says in there, it speaks about, shows Mesoamerican cities, farming societies. So you had a society of farmers, bronze people, our people, farming this land way before the so-called white man got here, way before them Asians crossed over the Bering Strait and came in here and mixed in with our people. Farming societies and empires. We built the first civilizations here in America and in Egypt and in certain parts of Europe, all over the place. But especially here, because we focus in here. Again, shows ancient Mesoamerican cities, farming societies, and empires. This work covers topics such as the Inca, Aztec, Olmec, Toltec, and Mayan cultures, among others, of importance of animals and their affinity for animals like the jaguar, right? In Mesoamerican culture, all right? War amongst the ancient Mesoamericans, architecture, art, and more. I'm getting that book, and I think y'all should all go out and get it. And we're going to put it on our site. You see, because and this is another reason why the so-called white man don't show you the Mesoamericans. Why does he tell you that civilization started with the so-called Indians? Why does he tell you that they're the real natives of this land? Why is he lying? Why does he tell that lie? Why does he tell that lie that these mongoloid-looking Indians that you see today, and they ain't even down to mongoloid yet, and then when you look into these people's heritage and ancestry, you'll find Asian and things like that. Just like if you go to Mexico, you can see people in Mexico that look Asian. And if you check their genealogy, and you put their genetic material up against Asians from Asia, from China, and things like that, a lot of it's the same genetic material. You see, so when you see these Eskimos, these Mexicans, These East Indians, it's all the same. These Asians, it's all, or what they call Native American Indians or so-called Native American, it's all the same people that crossed the Bering Straits. And all they did was mix in with our people and adopted our culture. We need to stop this African-American bull crap. It's a load of BS. The truth is coming out. The reality is coming out. We are the great civilization builders here, and you're going to see our people are going to adopt this. The intelligent ones of our people are going to adopt this reality of who we truly are so that we can move forward as a people, so that we have a real community, a real culture, and we got to stop looking across the damn water at the Moors, looking at the Muslims, looking at the Israelites, looking at the Egyptians. Why are you looking over at most of these societies that ain't, half of them ain't even real, you see, Israelites, when we got a real culture right here? We got a real culture right here, a real society, right? A real heritage and lineage here, a real nationality here. The only people who the word American belongs to is our people. The only people that the word American belongs to is our people. Don't belong to the so-called white man. He took that name from us. He chopped the Meso part off. And even like I said, because the word Mesoamerican means Middle America. The word Meso, they say it's a Greek word, and that's fine. That's fine because we already know anything Greek 9 times out of 10 came out of Egypt. Their language and everything, so you can find an equivalent. You can find an equivalent word to Meso in the ancient Kemetic languages. Probably with M-E-Z-O, Meso. Meso, that's all. The people, again, and this is why you get the word Mesopotamia, which again is our people also. You see, these are where civilization started. Notice the beast always tries to take us away from civilization and tell us we come out of the jungle some goddamn where, some lie. We come out the jungle somewhere running around naked. You see, they don't want to say that you're the real civilization builders, society builders. You see those pyramid cities all over Mexico. In fact, we was going to go down there and check them out. That's our people. That's our people's ancient cities, man. That's our people's ancient cities. And you got these so-called and the Mexican and the so-called Mexicans and the ones who are the curators of the museum. If they keep it 100 with you, they keep it funky all the way with you 1,000. They're gonna straight up tell you, nah, those were already built. Our people came, you know. They'll tell you they people come, and they'll tell you that all those people are bronze people. You see, they didn't bring none of that artwork over here into America. Why is that? That artwork that we put up, those images, the pictures taken, which the actual Mesoamerican people put up of themselves, the Mayans, the Aztec, the Toltec, and all them people, they were basically showing you how they looked. And all these societies are the same. They all folded from one society into another. People, societies fall, other ones come. Remember, these societies were up for thousands of years. So just like anything, a couple of 100 years, 200-300 years, they go into something else. They evolve. They go into something else until we get to this point. You see? And so now the so-called white man will tell you, oh, they don't know what happened to those societies. Oh, they don't know what happened to the descendants of those people. Oh, those people just disappeared. Are you serious? This is what they seriously sit up here and tell our people. Oh, we don't know what happened to them. They just disappeared. Those ancient people, they just disappeared. You see, oh, we don't know what happened to their children. And did that even sound right? How a whole society of niggas disappear? You already know they screwing, they making babies all over the place. Oh, but a whole society of niggas just disappeared. They just vanished into thin air. They just stopped having babies. They stopped screwing everything, right? Absolutely not. They're here. And we have always been here. We have always been here in this country. Being told that we are black people. Being told that we are African Americans. Being told that we are niggas and Negroes. You understand that? Being blacklisted in our own country. You see, this is why the so-called white man didn't want to make you a citizen of this country. Because he know he ain't going to make the real natives of the country citizens. He ain't going to make the native people citizens. Hell no. He'll close them out. How is it that everybody else can come over here and get citizenship and whatnot, and they ain't got to fight for their rights? They fresh off the boat. They got rights. You can still got to march in the streets, protest, and all this BS to get your rights, what you're supposed to have already. Now, even if they lying, they're going to go with the lie that they brought us from someplace else, which is a bold-faced lie, because they know they stopped slavery, importing the so-called African in 1808. So what the hell was that they doing? And even before then, because let's just keep it real, they was not going to go and keep bringing so-called Africans back into this country. You already know how Africans look, those tribal ones at that time. They was not going to bring them people into America. No. What they did was, they came here into this country, saw our people here farming the land, living on the land, not them so-called Indians. Those people were living out in the damn wilderness. Those so-called Indians, ones with the straight hair like the white man, the Asians, mixed with some of our people, because you know some of our people was coons, and they wanted to hang around the Asian Indians and mix their seed with them like today, trying to be down when we come from an older culture. Fool, they copying our culture. The feathers in the hair, the arrows, that's our stuff. Even down to the Olmec of the hats that the so-called Navajos wear. That became the broken down cowboy hat. That's from the Olmecs. The Aztec, they passed that along. That is not from no mongoloid-looking Indians or no Mexicans or no white people. That is our heritage, our culture. They can sit up here and tell that lie all they want to, and like I said, they got black collaborators. You know they got black collaborators. You know you got coon-ass nigger collaborators that's helping them. A lot of these pro-blacks, these Negroes that's pushing Pan-Africanism. Umar Johnson. Why you ain't talking about our people here to have societies and civilizations built here in America? You want to tell me Umar Johnson don't know about that? You want to tell me Phil Valentine, all them people, they keep looking back over at Egypt. Why are you looking at Egypt when all the pyramids over here? Why are you looking over there into Africa when our civilization, our society is here in America? You think that's by design? Runoko Rashidi, who just passed away, a lot of you Pan-African cats, the only one who was bringing it out in any kind of way, literally, was Ivan Van Sertima. You see, but they always had to make sure they had to keep that African name attached to our people. You see, because they're Caucasian benefactors. They want to hear that you Negroes are African, y'all black Africans, because, see, they get paid to promote that nonsense. A lot of your black, so-called black historians, they get paid to promote this we from Africa nonsense. Yet and how you know it is because they don't say nothing about the Mesoamericans. They don't say nothing about that. That's taboo. Don't you know that's taboo? You don't hear the white man talk about them. The white man want to try and act like, oh, these so-called Mongoloid Indians, those are the first people here. But then you got all this history, all these pyramids all over America, places that they cover up, that they don't even let nobody go. Olmec heads, they're going to act like, oh, we didn't know that existed. Oh, you mean the Mexicans got a better museum? The British even got a museum to the Mesoamerican people. They got a hell of a exhibit. And I'm going to go to the British Museum when we go back to London next year. They got more of a history of the people because you know why? Because when the so-called white man arrived over here, as the British and as the early Spanish, they chronicled the people they saw here. They were chronicling the people they saw here. That's where the whole thing of the original Americans are the copper-colored people. They're talking about us, man. We are the copper-colored people. Our skin is not black. I'm sorry to have to inform you Negroes who done been brain-stained and programmed to believe that your skin is the same color as a damn black cat or whatever. I'm sorry that y'all got to go through a whole thing and realize, maybe look in the mirror, relearn your colors again, and see that our skin is not black. We are not black people. That's a term that was given to us by white people, Caucasians. You see that? So that we would be the bottom of the barrel, and they would be on top of us as the white people. In other words, black beneath, white on top. You see? Basically, writing over our history, writing over our heritage, writing over our true indigenous status here in this country. And I'm not talking no Moorish nonsense. I'm talking real indigenous heritage here in this country as the Mesoamericans. I'm not talking about no Islam. I'm not talking about no Christianity. I'm not talking about none of that nonsense. I'm talking about our true heritage, our true way of life. You see? And I told you all before, the Mesoamerican people was linked up with the ancient Egyptian people. They was linked up with the Mayans. They was linked up with all these people in Sumeria and Nubia. You can see the serpent is very, that the serpent is always seen in their culture. Same way in Egypt, same way in Nubia. It's the same thing, man. The Olmec were called the Olmen people, which sounds a lot like Amen. Again, it's all the same stuff, same pyramid, same structure, things like that. Same interconnecting group. Obviously, they were traveling. They were going from place to place. They knew these areas. They knew these people. They were traveling. You see, that was our people. I found somebody, an ancient Mayan warrior. I found a few images of myself. It looked exactly like me, of an ancient Mayan warrior and a leader on the wall. I put it on my Facebook page. Looked just like me. And this image I got up right now, a dark-skinned bronze man and whatnot. He's dressed a Mayan leader, a warrior. Looks like myself. And I didn't have to ever have nobody tell me that, even though a lot of people telling me that. So if we look like these people, and for some strange reason they claim they got us from Africa, but they can't never really tell you where in Africa. Then they gonna turn around and tell you, oh, see those people, those Mesoamerican people, they just died out. We don't know what happened to them. I remember watching a documentary where they had the nerve to talk about the Olmec and the Aztec and all them, and the white man that was doing it, you could just tell they wasn't trying to keep it 100. They wasn't going to tell you how the real Mesoamerican people look. They was trying to keep this nonsense. Oh, their history was Lord. We don't know what happened to these people. We don't really know how they look. What are you talking about? You got whole murals of these people that they made of themselves. They got whole murals in the museum. And then, see, this is why the so-called white man don't want to show you Mesoamerica. He'd rather tell you that lie that, the first people here in America was the Native American Indians. The Native American Indians. Really. So forget all the Mesoamerican people that was here before them, right? Forget all the people, the bronze people that was living here before them. That your boy Columbus said he saw when he came up on the island. Now, wait a minute. Columbus came here supposedly in 1492. You mean to tell me there were so-called black people? So-called black people, really bronze, copper-colored people that's spoken of in the 1828 description of what an American is. You're going to tell me those people were here in the 1400s? Where did they come from? There was no slavery at that time. So where did they come from? Where did they come from? Somebody brought them here as slaves? Who was that? I smell a lie. I smell a huge, big lie. A huge African-American Negro lie. You see? And that's what we getting here. See, these people want to love it. These goddamn Caucasians love to tell you, yeah, you niggas need to go back to Africa. You see? They love to say that. You niggas need to go back to Africa, where you come from. Not knowing they came out of filthy, stinking Europe, right? Where they were throwing crap out the window, where they were starving in Ireland, potato famine, starving in Ireland, nasty and dirty in England, coming over there out of their countries where they were in poverty to come over here into the new world. They was referring to America as the new world. Why? Because they heard about trade going on here. You know how white people do? Oh, I got news of the new world. The new world, and this new world, and it's so in abundance because they saw, in other words, they saw our people here. They saw our people, land was in abundance. Our people was working the land and things like that and getting, and had property and things like that. And we was feeding people. We fed them coming off of the boats when they first came here into the shores. We fed them. You see? They want to tell you, oh, these people just came here. They just happened to come across. No, they didn't just happen to come across it. They've been here about this lie that Columbus just happened to discover and come across America. No, they heard about this place already. They heard about this place. They heard about this place. They heard about the people. And again, this guy, Amerigo Vespucci, who supposedly America is named after, Amerigo Vespucci, an Italian, why don't you ever hear more about him than Columbus? If this country's named after him, why don't you hear more about him than Columbus? You hear more about Columbus than Vespucci. Vespucci was before Columbus, right? Vespucci came before Columbus. So then why is Columbus the discoverer of America and not Vespucci, who you say America is named after? Wouldn't it be Vespucci who discovered America? Or is y'all saying they discovered it for white people? They made it okay for white people to come into this country. See, the first invaders we had here were the Asians. That was the first invaders. You see, the ones who crossed the Bering Straits and found our people here as the Inca, as the Aztec, as the Mayan, and we took them in. And we mixed our seed with their women and allowed their men to lay with our women. And this is where your so-called Indians started coming from, your early Native American Indians started coming from that mixture. But keep in mind, we are not Indians. And we are not taking on the culture or heritage of some Indians, because all that Indian heritage and culture is really our culture and heritage. That's ours. And we need to stop referring to ourselves as African American. In fact, I'm going to just say it like this. Seeing as how I'm the first one, and I'm going to say this as standing up and saying, you know what, we declaring ourselves Mesoamerican. We're not answering to African American. We ain't answering to black. We're bronze people. We're copper-colored people. We're bronze people of Mesoamerican heritage. Since I'm standing up for that, and since I'm bringing out the language, the Mesoamerican language, Mesoamerican name, and whatnot, and offering membership in the Mesoamerican community, we're going to be a real community, goddammit. The hell with the so-called African American community. There is no goddamn African American community. There is no black community. You see, the black community or the African American community is controlled by the LGBT community right now. That's who controls your so-called black community. You know, you look in your so-called black community, see who's moving into your black communities right now, your African American communities right now. You see, a bunch of bed wenches and with their white zaddies, a bunch of damn homosexuals and lesbians. Hey, whatever. That's fine. And a lot of you so-called black people, you're going to still remain black anyway. You're going to still remain African American. And we're just going to say it like this. The two are not synonymous. We're not saying, oh, we African American and we Mesoamerican. No, we Mesoamerican. Ain't no African American here. That African American thing is dead, at least amongst us. We starting that going forward. That African American thing, that black thing, that Negro thing is dead amongst us. You niggas that want to continue that lie, you want to keep believing these clowns, these conscious, black conscious clowns, these religious clowns who still want to keep on with this whole prophecy that we were going to be brought over here on slave ships and we're going to serve in a land that's not our own. You want to keep going with that? Go ahead with it. But let me say something about this. Yeah, they did bring us on slave ships from one part of America into another part of America. But it was our people, a lot of our people were on this side anyway. They did bring slaves in from South America into the Northern Americas. That's why, if you notice, a lot of our people, more of our people are in South America in all reality than in North America. So our people migrated over to North America. Some of our people were taken from South America and brought on slip ships into North America, but not from Africa. Not from Africa. This was strictly an American Holocaust, an American conspiracy to kidnap our people. And like I said, how you know that's reality, that we were free Americans, a free Mesoamerican people, I should say. We were free Mesoamerican people here in this society before the white man got here, before the Asians got here. We were free Mesoamerican people. And when we allowed these people to come here and they started building their government on top of us and setting up their structure, then this was not our home anymore. They took over. They brought their filthy, stinking selves here, and they got help. They got guns and things like that. They set up an army, and they just took hold of our society. That's all. They just strong-armed our society, and that's our fault. They strong-armed our society, much like what you see, basically a huge scale of gentrification. Basically, a huge scale of gentrification. That's all they did, and they took over our society. They knew that we was the first people here. In fact, the white man came in. When he came here, he was buddying up to our people. We taught him how to farm. We showed him how to grow food. They took tracts of land. We didn't care. We was like, oh, you know, we got all lackadaisical. See, we didn't have at that time, you know, by the time the white man came, that whole governmental, you know, territorial thing that our people once had in the ancient world, that was no longer what our people went. By the time the so-called white man started coming into this country in the 1700s, in the mid 1600s, 1700s, when they started coming here in 1500s, that territorial mindset was not in us anymore. That governmental mindset. We were literally broken down into tribes. We were broken down into tribes. You see, and a lot of those tribes became Indian tribes because, like I said, a lot of those Mongoloids that mixed in with us, they started taking over and controlling whole tribes of people. And you see where our people eventually got mixed out. You see, our people got mixed out. But if you look at them, the early ones, you could tell that bronze skin that they got came from us. You could still see our lips on some of them, the early ones, and our noses. That came from the mixing in with us. You see, this is our culture. We are not Indians. We are Mesoamerican. Again, I wish you guys would stop this black Indian nonsense because y'all, it's you know, it's like y'all go from the frying pan and right into the damn fire. You see, now you attributing two things to us that ain't got nothing to do with us. We're not black. Our skin is not black, and we are not Indians. We are those bronze, copper-colored Mesoamericans. Now watch, as I'm the first one to formally lay down the Mesoamerican community, me, Nuben Minkari, is the first one to lay down the Mesoamerican community. Watch, you're going to start having copycats come. You're going to start having copycats come. I already heard a few copycats already. Well, they ain't really used Mesoamerican yet, but watch. If you heard Mesoamerican here and there's a Mesoamerican community that's here that's being set up by us, then you know that this is us. You see, we are like I said, we are not taking people in who want to still be African American. See, we're going to build a real community amongst our people because that's the only hope we got for the survival of our people. We have to become a real community. The same way there's a Jewish community, the same way there is an Italian community, the same way there's an Irish community, there's going to be a Mesoamerican community, God damn it. There's going to be a Mesoamerican community. So scratch off that African American crap. You see, because that is just so goddamn vague. You see, that is just so vague. Africa's a continent. What does that mean? You don't call Caucasian people European Americans. You don't. You make reference to their home countries where they come from. You don't call them by a continent name. You don't call them you don't call white people European Americans. So what the hell are you doing calling us African American for? See, that's meant to be one of those names. And then this clown, Jesse Jackson, he was the first one to use that name at the behest of his Caucasian handlers who told him, go on and tell your black people they're African American. See, the whole thing of attaching us to this whole African thing and, you know, the African slave trade thing. Because like I said, I'm not saying there was no slave trading from Africa, but it was not like what they make it seem. Trust me, it wasn't. It was too much of a headache for them to bring slaves, so-called black people from Africa into America. And why would you do that when you got black people here in America already? Why would you do that? They was not going to go through the headache of doing that, having to get a ship full of people who are sick, people who are vomiting on themselves, people who got diseases that they picked up from you. You see, people who fighting with you. Then you got to teach them the language and how to work and stuff like that. Come on, man. They're not going to do that. No, they're going to get people who are already here, who know how to do work, know how to work the land and do stuff like that, people who know how to speak the language and whatnot, speak English. They're going to get those people, and they'll just kidnap them. I told you, slavery was nothing. Slavery back in the day was nothing but what is it called? Human trafficking. You know, for lack of a better word, human. I had to use the word human, but y'all know what I mean. It was human trafficking. That's all. Slavery was nothing but human trafficking. I told you, when they talk about the slave catchers on the plantation, the slave catchers did not just mean they was going off the plant, you know, catching runaway slaves off the plantation. No, they were sent out. A lot of them were sent out to catch slaves, find free bronze people, free Mesoamerican people, and capture them. Because, see, the word was out that we don't consider those niggas, those Negroes, the so-called white man, once George Washington, that degenerate, once they set up their American government here, they basically said, we don't consider the natives, the real natives of this land, the Mesoamerican people, we don't consider them citizens of our new America, of these new United States. So y'all, you white people, y'all the Americans now, you do what you want. Do what you want with these niggas, with these Negroes. Do what you want. Do what you want with the native people who was cordial to us when we came over here on these shores, who fed us, who helped us, who took care of us. Now we just gonna do whatever we want with these niggas. We're gonna put ourselves in a position to get all their land, secure all their land, get the troops in, to hold down the land, and basically give white people all the land and property, and take all their land from them and push them out their land and stuff like that, like they did. Just basically took your shit. That's all. Like the thieves that they are. Like the thieves that they are. Yet they want to sit up here and talk about law and order and justice. Took your land and pushed you to the side. And then they use your so-called Negroes love to talk this nonsense about my Native American ancestry, meaning, because when y'all say your Native American ancestry, you mean them Red Indians, the so-called, and the white man calls them Red Indians. The Red Indians. He didn't say copper colored, he said the Red Indians. He said the Red Indians. He didn't make reference to them as those people in the 1828. He was talking about the bronze people here, our people. But the Red Indians, or the Mongoloid Indians, sided with the white man in helping to enslave our people. See, because the so-called white man knew that if he didn't get the so-called Indians, the Mongoloid Indians, to side with them, and, they couldn't really keep slavery going. You see, they needed help. So they, like that white man, he'll resort to, like what he always do, like what he's doing right now, when he gives certain other races of people within the human race, he gives them white privilege. He lets them be white. In other words, he lets them be white so that they can own bronze people, because they figured, if we let them be, slave owners, then they'll side with us when slaves run away. They'll help us catch slaves and stuff like that. So they wouldn't fight. They wouldn't fight with the so-called black people, the so-called blacks. They wouldn't fight with. They wouldn't help them to fight for for their freedom, or if they ran off the plantation. That was why they allowed them to own slaves. I tell you, a lot of these so-called Mongoloid Indians, like I said, they're just as racist as the so-called white man. You see, they're just as racist. You see, because they're another one that has taken your culture, just like the so-called white man. And these Mexicans, too, the ones in modern-day Mexicans who call themselves Mesoamerican, who lying, another group of people who stealing our people. There's a guy who had his Mexican face, some Mexican, Indian-looking Mexican face next to one of the Olmec statues. And he talking about, see, we the real Mesoamerican, we the Olmec. Man, if y'all don't stop it, just because you might have your nose and your lips is somehow connected or looks like that, that's because you mixed in with black people. That's why you look like that, and why your skin is that dark brown and you got the lips like that. That come from black people, because, again, like I said, there's no such thing as a race of Mexican people. There's no such thing. Those people are nothing but a bunch of East Indians and Asians. That's all they are. I'm not trying to relive the Mesoamerican culture. I'm not trying to get all caught up in the Mesoamerican ancient cultures, because there was a lot of ancient culture back then. I'm interested in taking Mesoamerican forward, and I am taking it forward. That's why I trademarked the name International Mesoamerican Community, because I'm serious about that. And I'm pretty much buying up everything that got Mesoamerican on it, because I'm serious about getting this all under one umbrella. And it shouldn't be no multiple umbrellas. Just like I was serious about getting Mentellect under one umbrella, like I said, I'm serious about getting the Mesoamerican community under one umbrella, under one collective body. You see, not having a whole bunch of different Mesoamerican groups. It's all going to be under one thing. That's the only way we're going to have a real community. Having our own names, like I said, our own language, and it's not going to be names that's made up by niggas who want to play like they Mesoamerican, but they still got African-American mentality. See, we're going to be very choosy about who we accept into the Mesoamerican community. We won't be as strict as we are about the Republic of Mentellect. We're going to be choosy. We want the people who are tired of being black. We want the people who are tired of being African-Americans and Negroes and all that other nonsense. We want those people who are ready for this upgrade, who are ready for this extension. That's what we want. These people who are ready to be upgraded into the third dimension. You see, that's what this is for. because we upgraded into another one, to the next. So we calling out our people who are bright-minded, intelligent, extended in their thought, to come on out, to come and join the international Mesoamerican community, to join, right? You're going to go to the site. Those of you who are friends on my Facebook and things like that, you hit me up. Like I said, there's going to be a thing where you have to, go through certain procedures, like maybe write a letter, give us your name, your picture, same way with joining the Republican Mentor. We need to know who you are and whatnot, and, things like that. Won't be as tedious as the Republic is. It's more a mental thing with the Republic. It's more of a physical and cultural thing that those of you who want to move out of being black, move out of that two-dimensional mind frame, can now move into the third dimension collectively together as a family, to receive Mesoamerican family names, finally, to hear a Mesoamerican language that's being prepared by me for our people. You see, even we as Mentelians, we are Mentelian Mesoamerican. You see, we are Mentelian Mesoamericans. So our names, as you see, my name is kind of like is really a higher level of Mesoamerican language. Our names are Mesoamerican, Mentelian Mesoamerican names. You see, so when people ask us, I tell them it's Mesoamerican, Mentelian Mesoamerican, just Mesoamerican name. You see, we serious about this. That's why I got a Mesoamerican book of names coming out, everything, for people who are in the Mesoamerican community. We're not going to have people outside false flagging us and claiming us. We're going to have our own flag amongst us, you see, because we need to be a real community, a real bronze community, a real copper-colored community, a real bronze community. Forget the whole black thing. That black thing is dead, man. That black thing is now turning gray, right along with the white thing, if you know what I mean. So, no, we are breathing new life, or should I say next life, into our people. After blackness comes bronze. After blackness, after the death, comes that state of power, elemental power, bronze power, copper-colored power. See, this is where we going with the Mesoamerican thing. We bronze Mesoamericans. We ain't no goddamn black African Americans. We bronze Mesoamerican. We ain't even taking the term brown. We don't even want brown. Like the Mexicans have brown. They're brown. Like the East Indians have brown. They're brown. We're not brown people. We're bronze people. We look totally different from them. So, no, we're not copping with that. We're not walking with that people of color nonsense and we brown people. No, we bronze people, separate and unto ourselves like we like it. We are those bronze, copper-colored people. We are bronze people, not black people. We are bronze. We're not brown people. We are bronze. But for you niggas that still want to be black, go be black. Keep going being black with the white man. Keep on going and complaining for reparations. We're going back to Africa and all that other BS. You see, there's a reason why all that back to Africa crap didn't work for our people, man, because we didn't come from no goddamn Africa, man. And all that nonsense, like I got on y'all about that, buying into this foolishness that, all life started in Africa and whatnot. I proved to you that the so-called white man, like I said, his life started in Africa. You see, his life started in the jungles and things of Africa, not us. You see, our people, like I said, in the caves and things like that, as laboratory. But I'm not going to go into that broadcast again. Y'all go listen to that broadcast. You see, we're not part of their creation. I should say we're not a direct part of it. We are responsible for their creation, but we're not the same people. Like I told you, they got the animal genetic and that separates us from them. That's just what it is. And so now, as we are discovering that we are the true Mesoamerican people, I don't even want to use the term American. We use the term Mesoamerican. All we said is we are the real Americans, the first Americans. Mesoamericans are the first American people. We say first American, bronze first, bronze only. You see, as the bronze race, as the bronze Mesoamerican race, you see, as the bronze people of Mesoamerican descent, we are declaring our communities to, step in place for those of our people who want to come out of that whole African-American black community nonsense, because that's dead, man. All that black talk is dead, man. All that black power talk is dead because, again, where did it come from? From the so-called white man. All that whole thing of our skin being black. Nah, man, we letting that fantasy of the white man die, that sick fantasy of this back and forth black and white thing die, man. See, because, you know, that's only going to fade into grayness, man. That's going to fade. It's fading away real fast. You see, and we got to be, you know, the ones coming out on another level after this thing fades away. Because, like, again, this black and white thing is played out, man. We already know you Negroes want to be, most of you Negroes want to be white. And most of you whites want to dominate the blacks or whatever. Like I said, we ain't got time to play them games, man. That's people who want to keep going back and forth. That's people who want to keep doing the black and white dance. We ain't doing the black and white dance. We going forward of our own volition, off of our own mindset, off of our own vision, off of our own future prophecy. We going forward as a Mesoamerican people. You see, and like I said, there's a reason why in this day and time, America is really seen as the epicenter of the world. Why like I said, wherever you go in America, people want to know New York, Brooklyn. They're going to know these areas. They're going to know America. America is the most popular country on the planet, the most popular country, the most popular continent, America. And what we do in America and North America more than anything. But why is that? In South America too, somewhat. But why is that? Why is people in Africa even copy our culture and things like that, or so-called black culture? It's because of us, the music, right? The hairstyles, everything. That's us, man. The clothing, how we dress, how we take things that Caucasians wear and we put flash to it. Because like I said, that's us. You see, they came here and fed off of us, man. This is why they were able to become what they became in the world. America became a great power because it was already off to a great start, because our people were here to be the ones who had the first trading on why America grew to be such a great economic power is because our people were here first before the white man came off of them ships from Europe. We were already here trading, man. There was already economic prosperity going on in this land. Don't let them tell you that damn lie. Even it come from their own mouth when their own historians told the truth and said there was trade, business and enterprise going on here and going back to Mesoamerica, man. That was going back to Mesoamerica. They had farming communities. The women were farming and the men were, working the crops and things like that. That's the own. See, we are natural-born farmers, man. Our people are natural-born farmers. Even though that's something we lost, but we're probably, now the Caucasians come over here, like I said, they fed off our energy because when they was in Europe, they wasn't really growing nothing. They had maybe one or two crops that they could halfway eat, grow, but most of that was like a bunch of meat and stuff like that and starch and whatever they could bake and, put together. We had vegetables here. We had grains here. Yes, we had animals here, clean animals like buffalo and birds and things like that. We taught them how to eat, man. Clean. They brought pigs here. They brought pigs here. They brought rats here. They brought roaches here. That came off the ships with them. And ever since they've been here, the society's been plagued. It is advanced. Yes, it has advanced somewhat, technical-wise, but that would have happened regardless. But it suffered a lot too. Our culture and who we are has suffered. Our mentality has suffered. Mesoamerican is our nationality. Mesoamerican. Not African-American, not Negro, not black, not African. Mesoamerican is one word, is our nationality. And we have a Mesoamerican language that goes along with that. Okay? That's coming. Only for those who are in the international Mesoamerican community who identify as Mesoamerican. If you identify as African American, we don't want you in our community. We don't want no African Americans in our community. We don't want no black people in our community. We don't want no Negroes in our community. We don't want no niggas in our community. That I'm gonna just put it plain like that. No, thank you. You see, because whenever you're doing something, anything, you got to set the bar high. you know. And we set the bar high in the Republic of Intellect, and we constantly are revising and setting the bar high, and we're going to do that in the Mesoamerican community as well. You see, and let me say this: the people are calling themselves Americans, like the Caucasians and all these other people. Let them call themselves Americans, but let it be understood that the only real Americans, the only real Mesoamerican people, and from their own Caucasian Merriam-Webster, one of their own mouth, that they're not the original Americans. We are. We're gonna put Mesoamerican. We're gonna keep Meso there just so everybody knows that we are claiming our descendancy to the ancient peoples of Mesoamerica. We are claiming our connection, our genealogical and our genealogical and cultural connection to the ancient Mesoamerican people of this land, who were in North America, South America, Central America, Canada, and all of these other islands around the Americas, right? South America, everything. So Mexico, of course. So we are acknowledging that we are those people. We are the descendants of those people. We are not from Africa. We are not African American. We do not find our roots in Africa. Our roots are here, right in Mesoamerica, that is currently being called America. Now, like I said, are these people really Americans? No, they are not. These people who are here, who are not born of Mesoamerican blood, they are not Americans. They are people from elsewhere. So they want to be Irish American, Italian American, German American, whatever they want to add, throw the American on the back of. Even if they want to call themselves American, again, they'll never be American. They want to try and make themselves American, because that's the new thing with the so-called white man. He started just taking the front where they really came from off. That just goes to show you right there that they don't have no real culture, because it was a time where they would call themselves Italian American, German American, Irish American. It's a lot now. They're trying to kind of erase that Jewish American. Now they just putting American in. They just American. They just basically throwing away where they came from. And why is that? Because they don't come from nothing. That's why. That's why you throw away your culture. That's why you throw away your true heritage, because they ready just to start saying they American. They ready to cut away. You do hear them say that, right? On a lot of things, they just say, oh, we American. They don't say where they came from. They don't say that they immigrants, because they all immigrants. Everybody's an immigrant here but us. Everybody's an immigrant here but us. And so they stopped claiming their immigrant status, and they just saying they're Americans now. You see, because, again, you know why they doing that? Because they don't come from nothing. They ain't get nothing popping until they got here in America. So don't believe that BS about what they had going on in their country. They ain't have a goddamn thing going on in their country, or else they would be claiming their country still. You wouldn't hear them just putting American up there. They ain't had a damn thing going on in their country. They got life when they came here amongst our people. That's when they got life. That's when they got the status, and they became white people and all this other stuff, and came up over our people. That's when that was their biggest uprise. That was their biggest revolution right there, when they came here amongst our people and took our land and threw our people into slavery. And that was allowed to happen by the power of Amen, by the hand of Amen. Amen allowed that to happen because our people were running around here being tribal, being individuals. So what happened? The so-called white man came into America as a collective, and they got together, and they kicked our ass and put us in bondage, because we forgot the first principle of anything when you're in a collective body is to stay together, stick with the group, man. Stay together. Stick with the group, man. Don't go off as individuals. See, that's what happened with our people. We went off as a bunch of individual tribes. That's why the white man, Merriam-Webster, he referred to our people as the copper-colored races or tribes in the society. Tribes. Because we have tribes, races. When they say it like that, that's really our people basically started, separating and becoming individual. And we wasn't sticking together. That's why, and the white man knows the danger of that, because he's seen that's how our people fell down. That's why he's saying his Pledge of Allegiance, divided we stand, united we stand, divided we fall. That's why he says that. United we stand, meaning they stand up as a living power. Divided, they will fall down. You see? And there's division going on amongst the beasts right now, but that's another broadcast. But as I said, our people are the real Mesoamerican people. We are not descendants of any Africans. That's a lie. That slave ship story is a lie. The slave ships that we came over here on, like you simple ass Negroes tell us lie. Oh, 100 million slaves came over here. I wish I would cut that nonsense out. And I'm telling you, you're going to find out in these last days, a lot of these pro-black Negroes who keep pushing us back and pushing our face into Africa and say this is our origin. A lot of them are working with these Caucasians, man. A lot of them are working with them to lie to us about our history, man. But see, now the history is being revealed, man. You see, so stand up with pride in this society that people telling you, oh, you ain't American. Yes, you are. You are the first American here, the Mesoamerican. And again, we're trying to keep that amongst our people, the ones of our people who are standing up for that, who are going to stand up as proud Mesoamericans. In other words, we don't want no niggas calling themselves Mesoamerican. We don't want no fucking excuse my language, we don't want no goddamn gangbangers calling themselves Mesoamericans. We don't want no niggas who dope dealing calling themselves Mesoamerican. We don't want no hoe with a fucking blonde wig on her head calling herself a Mesoamerican woman. She is a black woman. And them niggas that's engaging in that nigga nonsense, they black males and black females. We don't want no black males and females with us, with that nigga mentality. We don't want that. No, thank you. We don't want no Jesus freaks with us. We don't want no Jesus people with us. We don't want no Allah people with us. We don't want no Jehovah people with us. We don't want none of your Jesus or your Jehovah or Yahweh or Yahweh Shai. Keep that shit over there amongst the black race. We don't want that here. You see, and that's what we're going to be asking people who apply for membership in the Mesoamerican community, because we're serious about this. We got a lot of great things coming. You're going to see the privilege in being part of this community, a real community, not no fake African-American black community, but a real community, like the Jewish community, like the Italian community, a real community who have a real connection to this society, not something we made up. Because even the white man, and after that kid, and he acknowledged it, but even he acknowledged the existence, the reality of the Mesoamerican people. That's us, man. That's us. So stop looking over into Egypt. Yes, that's our family over there too. Stop looking over into Nubia. Yeah, that's our family over there too. And like I said, and start looking right here where our family been at. And stop looking to go back into Africa, because we didn't come here in the first place. We didn't come from there in the first place. I don't care. That's why it didn't work out when God was talking about that. I'm going back to Africa or getting ships and all this other stuff, because he did get ships according to the story, but whatever. You know, we don't want no African-American transplants into the Mesoamerican community. We don't want no niggas in the Mesoamerican community. We're trying to be fine, upstanding Mesoamerican men and women that's trying to bring our culture forward. Bring our heritage forward. We're not trying to relive their heritage. We ain't trying to do what they did. That was their thing back then. We moving forward. We are those future Mesoamerican people. We are living forward to the future and giving our people a true heritage, a true name, a true language, everything. That's what that is. That's what we here to do. And like I said, the site is coming up. It's online right now, themesoamericancommunity.com. You see, we're going to take membership and everything. And we only want serious people here, man. Like I said, we really want to be a real community internationally. And like I said, that's what we're going for. Because, again, Mesoamerican is an international identification. Like I said, that's that's beyond boundaries. That's a genetic thing. That's a nationality, a race type of thing. Mesoamerican is a race. Okay? Within the three-dimensional realm. You see, that is a race within the three-dimensional realm that is on internationality. You see, like, just because you live in Italy don't mean you Italian. Just because you live in Greece don't mean you Greek. Just because you live in China don't mean you Chinese. That's the same thing with these white people and all these other people here calling themselves American. Just because y'all live in America don't make y'all American. The only people that's really American, Mesoamerican, get it right, is our people. We're the only blood Mesoamerican people here. You see, that's why they had to cut the Meso part off. So let me go ahead and read this question before we get out of here. What is African-American to Mesoamerican taking our true heritage back? That's taking our true heritage forward. I said forward reason because we're not trying to go back. We ain't trying to be like the ancient Kemite people. We're trying to learn about Ma'at and this, that, and God and that, and all these rituals. We ain't trying to redo nobody's rituals. All right? We're not trying to do that. We are those Mesoamerican people going forward. This is our identity. This is our heritage. This is our race. This is our identity. This is what we're going forward as Mesoamericans with the Mesoamerican language. This is what we're going forward as.